What happens when a CEO sneaks into his own grocery store at night and realizes no one's stopping a teenager from working 10 hours straight without a break? Yarden Price leaned against the warehouse wall of store number 14, tugging off the itchy fake beard that had started to irritate his neck. He shifted in the baggy navy hoodie and cargo pants, clothes that made him blend in with the night crew. His name tag read Dale, and his story was simple. Just another guy picking up extra hours after moving into town. He owned all 18 stores in the chain now, but this one kept popping up in complaints: slow restocks, missing inventory, and unusually high turnover. His team had sent 2 reports, but they didn't match. And Yarden had learned the hard way: if you want to know what's really happening, you don't read it, you live it. No one at the store recognized him. Most of the employees were young, and the store had changed hands almost 6 years ago. He'd never met any of them in person. And the disguise, a balding wig, rimmed glasses, and a slightly hunched walk. He looked like a tired man who'd seen better days. "Dale, move those pallets to aisle 7, barked a voice from across the back room. Yarden turned to see a short, wiry man with a clipboard and a permanent scowl: store manager Brad. He seemed to enjoy barking orders more than actually doing anything himself. "On it," Yarden said, rolling the first pallet through the swinging doors and into the fluorescent lights of the store. A few employees were quietly restocking shelves, no small talk, no music, just the dull grind of boxes being sliced open and cereal being stacked. That's when he noticed her. A girl, couldn't be more than 16 or 17, was kneeling on the floor, lining up cans of soup with robotic focus. Her hands shook a little. Her brown apron was stained from the deli, and her name tag said Lena. "Hey, you good?" Yarden asked, crouching beside her. She looked up, startled. "Yeah, just tired. How long you been on?" She checked her watch. "Since 10 this morning." Yarden blinked. "Wait. That's almost 10 hours, she said, forcing a smile. "I asked for a break earlier, but Brad said we're short tonight, so I stayed." Yarden stood up slowly. His stomach twisted. He tried to keep his voice level. "You didn't get a lunch?" "Nope. Just grabbed a granola bar in the stockroom," she said, brushing her hair back. "It's cool. I don't mind helping." "Helping is one thing," Yarden muttered. "Being taken advantage of is another." Lena looked at him, confused, but before he could say more, Brad's voice cut through the aisle. "Lena. Quit chatting. You still got dairy to clean before you clock out." "Sorry," she called back, standing up stiffly. Yarden followed her toward the back. He watched as she grabbed a mop and bucket, dragging it toward the milk coolers. Her legs wobbled slightly. "How many people are on tonight?" Yarden asked a tall guy stocking soda. "Just 5 of us," he replied. "Supposed to be 8, 2 called out and 1 quit last week." "Why'd they quit, Brad?" he said simply, shrugging. "He's got a temper, doesn't care if you're sick or worn out. Just wants the shelves full." Yarden felt a knot form in his chest. He'd built this company to be better than that. He remembered working night shifts in his 20s, barely scraping by. That was why he bought the chain in the first place, to change that culture, but something had gone wrong. A loud crash echoed from the dairy aisle. Yarden rushed over. Lena had dropped the mop and collapsed onto her knees, her hand shaking as she reached for the bucket. Brad stormed in seconds later. "What the hell, Lena? You can't even finish mopping?" "I'm sorry," she whispered. I feel dizzy." Yarden stepped between them. "She's been working 10 hours straight, Brad, no break. That's illegal." Brad narrowed his eyes. "Who the hell are you?" Yarden stared him down. His pulse thudded in his ears. He wasn't ready to reveal himself, not yet, but the anger in his chest was real. Just someone who knows when a kid's being mistreated. Brad scoffed. "Don't get soft, Dale. If she can't handle the shift, she shouldn't be here." Yarden clenched his jaw. He wanted to blow his cover right there, but he needed more. More proof, more time. He'd only been here 4 hours. There was still more to see, but Lena, she needed rest. "I'll take her cleaning duties," Yarden said quietly. "She needs to sit down." Brad rolled his eyes and stormed off. Yarden helped Lena to the break room and handed her a bottle of water. Her eyes welled up, but she blinked them away. "You didn't have to do that," she whispered. He smiled gently. Yeah, I did. Then he went back to mopping the dairy aisle alone, seething inside. This wasn't just bad leadership. This was neglect. And it was only the beginning. The breakroom door closed behind Yarden with a hollow thud. Fluorescent lights buzzed quietly overhead, casting a pale glow across the scuffed linoleum floor. Lena sat slouched on the bench, her head back against the wall, a half-empty bottle of water in her lap. Her hoodie sleeves were pushed up, revealing red pressure marks on her forearms where crates had likely pressed against her skin. Yarden grabbed a plastic chair across from her and sat down slowly, his knees aching from crouching and lifting for the past few hours. He'd spent the last 40 minutes mopping dairy floors in silence, trying to keep his temper in check. But now, looking at this kid barely out of high school, if that, he felt it bubbling again. "What's the policy here on breaks?" he asked casually, keeping his voice neutral. Lena tilted her head, confused. "Policy? Yeah, like does Brad ever let people take 15 minutes? Step outside," she gave a weak laugh. "Only if you're one of his favorites, and even then, not always." Yarden leaned forward. "And who are his favorites?" She hesitated, eyes flicking toward the door. "I don't want to get anyone in trouble." "You won't," he said firmly. "But I need to know what kind of place this is." She picked at the label on the water bottle. "He likes the ones that don't question him, guys who move fast and don't talk back. If you ask for a break or slow down for even a second, he's on you." Yarden nodded slowly. "And how long's that been going on?" "Since I started. And from what I hear, way before that." Before she could say more, the door creaked open. A tall, broad-shouldered man stepped in with a clipboard and a Bluetooth headset in his ear. He barely glanced at them. "Brad wants inventory on frozen done before 3. "We're behind, let's go," he said, tapping his pen against the clipboard. Yarden stood, motioning for Lena to stay seated. "She's still recovering, I'll take frozen." The man turned to him. "And who are you again?" "Dale, new guy." "Started tonight." He gave a dismissive grunt and walked out. Yarden turned back to Lena. "Stay here, drink water, when you're ready just help where you can, no pushing it." She didn't respond, but the grateful look in her eyes said enough. Yarden stepped back onto the floor and pushed through the swinging doors into frozen. The air hit him like a wall, sharp and biting. 3 pallets sat untouched by the freezers, stacked high with frozen vegetables and meat. A lanky young man with headphones on was slowly cutting boxes open, earbuds tucked beneath a knit beanie. "Need a hand?" Yarden asked. The kid looked up, startled, then pulled out one earbud. "Sure, I'm Trevor." "Dale." Trevor handed him a box cutter and gestured to the opposite side. "We're supposed to get all this up in 2 hours, but we're short, so probably not gonna happen." They worked in silence for a bit, the only sounds being the hiss of tape, the rustle of plastic wrap, and the low hum of the freezers. After 20 minutes, Trevor broke the silence. "You ever worked night shift before?" "Yeah," Yarden said. "Years ago, not in groceries though." Trevor nodded. "It's not bad if you've got a decent manager, but this guy, total power trip." Yarden raised an eyebrow. "Brad?" "Yeah, dude doesn't lift a finger. Just walks around with his clipboard, yelling at people. Last week he made this girl cry because she forgot 1 bag of ice in aisle 5. Yarden stopped slicing. "He made her cry?" "Yeah, publicly, right in front of customers too." Yarden's jaw tightened. "What happened to her?" "She quit." "That night." They worked a while longer before Trevor asked, "So what you do before this?" Yarden hesitated, then shrugged. "Bit of everything, trying to find someplace steady." Trevor nodded. "Well, good luck here, just keep your head down." "That's how most of us survive." Yarden didn't respond. By the time they'd finished the frozen pallets, it was nearly 2:30. Yarden stepped out of the freezer, shaking the cold from his arms. As he turned into the main floor, he saw Brad standing near the front registers, arms crossed, glaring at a short woman in a produce apron. "I don't care what your chart says," Brad snapped. "We don't reduce anything unless I say." She was holding a tray of bruised peaches, clearly marked for markdown. "This is wasteful. They'll spoil by morning," she replied calmly. I said no. "That's final." Yarden walked closer, trying to get a better sense of the exchange. I've been doing this for 12 years, the woman added. This is basic stock rotation. Brad cut her off. Then maybe it's time you retire. Let the younger ones handle it. Yarden stepped in. She's right, that fruit's going bad, better to sell it at a loss than toss it. Brad turned slowly. I don't recall asking you, Dale. I wasn't offering a suggestion, Yarden said evenly. That's just common sense. Brad's eyes narrowed. You've been here 5 hours and already think you know how to run things. Yarden held his gaze. No. But I know when someone's being disrespected for doing the right thing. The woman looked at him, surprised. Brad's jaw clenched, but he walked off without another word. Thanks, she said quietly. Name's Rosa Dale, he replied. And you're right. That was a solid call. She smiled faintly, then returned to produce. Yarden walked back toward the stockroom, his head buzzing. Inside, the overnight lead, a man named Marcus, was hunched over the scheduling board. He had a calm presence, older than most of the crew, wearing a faded red vest over a black t-shirt. You moved frozen fast, Marcus said without looking up. Trevor helped. He's sharp. Marcus nodded. Doesn't talk much, but he works. Yarden stepped closer. I noticed the schedule's thin. Any backup staff? Marcus shook his head. Not since they cut hours last month, said we weren't hitting targets, so now we run lean. Yarden frowned. And who decides that? Brad reports to the regional director, but he's the one who makes the call here. Yarden scanned the board. 3 names were scratched out, replaced with question marks. People keep quitting? Yeah, sometimes mid-shift, can't blame them. Pay's fine, but the way we're treated, it wears you down. Yarden hesitated. You ever raise it with Brad? Marcus gave a short laugh. I've worked here 15 years. I've raised everything safety, staffing, even when the coolers failed. He either ignores it or says it's above his pay grade. Yarden clenched his fists. And when's the regional director around? Never met him. Only emails. Yarden stepped back, absorbing it all. The picture was clear now. Brad wasn't just unqualified, he was corrosive. He created a culture that pushed people out, punished initiative, and rewarded silence. And the fact that no one above him had intervened meant they either didn't know or didn't care. He looked at the time. Almost 3. He turned to Marcus. You've been here longer than anyone. If you could fix one thing first, what would it be? Marcus didn't hesitate. Respect. People can handle long nights and heavy lifts, but being spoken to like trash, that breaks them. Yarden nodded. Thanks. As he stepped back into the store, he caught sight of Lena near the registers, slowly facing cereal shelves. Her hands were steadier now, but her eyes were distant. He'd seen enough. He walked to the front, pulled out his phone, and stepped outside. The night air was cool, the parking lot quiet. He dialed a number and waited. Maya, it's me. I need you at store 14 by morning. Bring HR, bring security, and bring the termination paperwork. He hung up. Inside, Brad was laughing with someone near the break room, completely unaware of what was about to hit him. Not a single person here deserved what they'd been dealing with. That was about to change. By the time dawn pressed against the glass doors of the store, casting a pale gray over the empty parking lot, Yarden had already changed back into his real clothes. The disguise was gone. The beard, the glasses, the hoodie all folded into a bag and tucked into the passenger seat of his black sedan parked behind the loading dock. Inside, the store buzzed with the low static of early morning prep, fresh bread being wheeled out, a sleepy cashier logging into the register, a few early stockers dragging their feet as they restocked produce. But under the surface, tension coiled like wire pulled too tight. Yarden stood near the customer service counter in a black wool coat, coffee in hand, watching from a distance as Brad emerged from the back office with a clipboard and a look of bored irritation. Brad didn't recognize him in daylight. He didn't even glance twice. That changed the moment Maya walked in. She strode through the front entrance, crisp blouse under a gray blazer, flanked by the district HR manager and a security officer in plain clothes. Her heels clicked across the tile. She didn't look around. She walked straight toward the back office. Brad's eyes caught them and narrowed. "Excuse me," he said, stepping forward, blocking their path slightly. Can I help you? Yarden stepped up beside Maya. Brad's face froze as the pieces fit together. Yarden removed his coat slowly. You can start by handing over your keys. Brad's mouth parted, searching for words. Wait, you're Yarden Price, founder, owner. You've worked here 18 months and never once bothered to read the company memo headers. Brad blinked. I didn't realize. That much is clear. Yarden motioned toward a nearby side hallway leading to the small break room. Let's not do this in front of the crew. Brad hesitated, then followed, stiff and silent. The door clicked shut behind them. The HR manager remained by the wall, clipboard in hand. Maya leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Yarden faced Brad. I've spent the last 8 hours watching you let a 16-year-old work herself into the ground. I've seen you dismiss experienced staff, ignore safety procedures, and speak to people like they're disposable. Brad's face flushed. Look, this store's been under pressure. Labor budget's been slashed. I'm just doing what I can to keep things moving. You made a girl cry over a bag of ice. Yarden cut in. You told a veteran employee to retire because she had an opinion. You denied breaks. You ran night shifts with skeleton crews and then punished the ones who stayed. Brad's voice rose. You think I enjoy this? I get 2 pallets late every night because logistics can't figure their crap out. I get emails from ops telling me I'm over hours every week. You want me to fix it all with 5 part-timers and a rusty cooler? Then you come to us. You raise the flag. You advocate for your team. What you don't do is take it out on them. Brad scoffed. Half these kids wouldn't last in a real job. They need to toughen up. Yarden's voice dropped. And you need to leave. Now. Maya stepped forward, handed over a small envelope. That's your formal termination letter. We'll process your final pay and ensure your access is deactivated by noon. Brad stared at the paper, then at Yarden. You're making a mistake. Yarden didn't blink. No. I'm correcting one. Brad left without another word, escorted quietly out through the side employee exit by security. The HR manager followed, making notes as they walked. Yarden remained in the break room for a moment, staring at the table where Lena had sat just hours ago. A half-empty water bottle was still there, untouched since the night before. He stepped back onto the floor. Marcus was pushing a broom near the bakery, moving slow but steady. Yarden approached him. Morning, Marcus said cautiously. Yarden nodded. We'll need a quick huddle. Can you gather the overnight crew and any early shift workers? Marcus raised an eyebrow but didn't ask questions. Within 10 minutes, a small cluster of employees had formed near Register 4. Lena stood near the back, arms folded, eyes scanning nervously. Rosa leaned against a display rack, expression unreadable. Trevor hung back, earbuds still wrapped around his neck. Yarden looked at them, all worn, all quiet, all watching him like they were trying to decide if this was real. I'm not here to give you a speech, Yarden began. I came in last night undercover to see what this store was really like. I saw people doing 3 jobs at once. I saw people staying quiet because speaking up got them punished. I saw one of you collapse from exhaustion. Lena looked down. Yarden continued. That ends today. Brad's gone. Effective immediately. A few glances passed between employees. No one cheered, but something in the air loosened like someone had cracked a window in a room long sealed. Here's what's happening next, Yarden said. Marcus, you're the interim store lead until we place someone permanent. You've earned that trust. Marcus blinked, stunned. I thank you. To everyone else, you're getting your breaks. Starting today, every shift will be scheduled with coverage in mind. If someone calls out, we call in backup, not guilt the ones who showed up. Rosa raised her hand slightly. What about staffing? We're still short 3 people. Yarden nodded. We're opening up 5 new part-time positions. I already cleared it with ops. Hiring starts tomorrow, and we're raising the night differential by $2 per hour. A few heads turned at that. Trevor spoke up. Does that include retroactive for this week? It does, Yarden said. Payroll will adjust the difference. He paused, letting that sink in. I'm not here to run this store for you, but I am here to make sure you're not treated like robots. You show up for each other." "That means we show up for you." Lena finally lifted her eyes. "What about school schedules? Some of us asked for adjusted hours weeks ago." Yarden looked at Maya, who nodded. "They'll be honored. We'll reach out individually today to lock in availability. And if you ever get pushback again for requesting basic accommodation, you come straight to HR." There was no applause, just a slow, almost imperceptible shift in posture, shoulders relaxed, arms unfolded. Eyes met his, open now, not guarded. Yarden ended the meeting with one last look around. "I can't fix what happened, but I can make sure it doesn't happen again." He stepped back, letting Marcus take over shift assignments. Maya pulled out her tablet and began coordinating interviews for the open positions. Rosa walked off toward Produce, already on a call with the day shift vendor. Trevor headed back to Frozen, earbuds in but one still loose, a subtle change. Yarden approached Lena quietly away from the group. "I owe you," he said. "Not just for working hard, but for not hiding how bad it's been." She gave a small, tired smile. "I didn't think anyone would ever notice." "I noticed, and I'm making sure others do too." He handed her a business card. "If you ever feel like someone's not listening again, use this. It goes straight to my office." She nodded, fingers curling around the card. Yarden stepped outside into the cold morning light. The sun had finally broken through the clouds, casting long rays across the roof of the store. This wasn't over, not by a long shot, but it was finally beginning. Yarden returned to the store 2 days later, this time without disguise or secrecy. He stepped through the automatic doors just after 6 in the morning, coffee in hand, wearing a plain button-down shirt and dark jeans. The cold from outside clung to his sleeves. The floor still smelled faintly of bleach from the overnight cleaning, and the store was quiet, not dead, but calm in a way it hadn't been before. Marcus stood near the service desk, clipboard tucked under one arm, scanning the new delivery manifest. When he looked up, his eyes met Yarden's, and for a second he looked unsure if he should address him formally or casually. "Marcus," Yarden said, extending a hand. "How's the first stretch been?" Marcus shook it with a firm grip. "We're moving, not perfect, but better. Nobody's walked out." "That's something," Yarden nodded. "That's a start." The night crew had just clocked out. Rosa passed by with her coat slung over one shoulder, pausing when she saw them. "We're short 3 crates from the citrus shipment," she said. "Drivers said it was a warehouse issue." "I logged it, but you might want to follow up." Marcus scribbled it down. Yarden turned to her. "How's the team holding up?" She gave a tired but clear-eyed reply. "Still tense. Folks are waiting to see if this sticks. But we've had more conversation in the last 2 days than we had the last 6 months. Keep telling me the truth," Yarden said, "even when it's uncomfortable." Rosa gave a short nod and headed out. Yarden watched her go. There was no visible sign of relief on anyone yet, just cautious movement, like people testing the floor under their feet. He walked the store slowly with Marcus, checking department by department. Deli had 2 workers prepping early orders. Bakery had 1 woman kneading dough for the morning pastries. In Frozen, Trevor was already halfway through loading the day's stock, earbuds out now, a small speaker playing low, instrumental jazz from his cart. "I didn't think you'd come back," Trevor said without turning fully. "You're not the only one," Yarden replied, "but I don't drop in just to vanish again." Trevor paused. "Feels different. We're still running tight, but at least now people talk like they matter." "Long way to go," Yarden said. "But we'll get there." He spent the next hour reviewing the staff schedules, noting where gaps still lingered. The hiring process had begun, but onboarding would take time. He'd authorized additional overtime for key staff in the meantime, but only those who volunteered. No one would be pushed into extra hours without consent. In the break room, Maya sat with 2 employees, walking through the new shift request forms. Lena was there too, sitting quietly at the end of the table, a small notebook open in front of her. Yarden waited until Maya finished speaking, then walked over. "Mind if I sit?" Lena looked up, then nodded. Her eyes were clearer than before, but she still looked like someone who hadn't fully exhaled. "I didn't expect you to remember me," she said. "I'd have to try pretty hard to forget," Yarden replied. She tapped the notebook. "I wrote a letter the night after that shift. Didn't know who I'd give it to. Figured I'd toss it eventually." "Can I rate it?" She hesitated, then slid it across the table. The handwriting was neat, but the words were raw. She described the exhaustion, the pressure to stay quiet, and the quiet fear of being replaced if she ever said no. She ended it with a single question. "Is this what work is supposed to feel like?" Yarden closed the notebook and handed it back. "No, it's not." Lena looked down. "I'm trying to believe that." "You don't have to believe it today," he said, "but I'll make sure you can believe it soon." "Are you going to be watching all the stores like this?" He nodded slightly. "One at a time, quietly." "We've got more to fix than I thought." She stood up, pulled her apron from the hook and paused before heading out. "I told my mom what happened. She thought I was lying." "Not everyone believes stories like this," Yarden said. "But they will." Once she left, he found Maya by the front end, checking in with the new shift lead. They stepped aside near the floral section, where a few buckets of roses sat in water, still unopened from delivery. "Any blowback from Brad's termination?" Yarden asked. "None." HR reviewed his file. There were enough red flags to justify immediate dismissal even without your first-hand account. "Good. What about staffing?" "We've got 4 interviews today." One former employee reapplied, left under Brad, wants back in under Marcus. "Give them a fair shot." Before she could respond, a voice called from the next aisle. "Mr. Price?" Yarden turned. A woman in her late 30s approached, wearing a green vest with a name tag that read Kira. Her hands were stained with ink from the Price gun, and she looked cautious but determined. "I heard what happened the other night," she said. "I wasn't on shift, but people are talking." Yarden waited. "I just wanted to say, thank you for not just sending emails or memos, for actually being here." "Emails don't mop floors," he said. Kira gave a slow nod. "If you're looking at other stores, number 6 is worse than this one was. 2 managers gone in 3 months. And the night lead quit last week." Yarden's expression changed. "Thank you for telling me." She returned to her aisle. Yarden stood still for a moment, absorbing it. "Put store 6 on the list," he said to Maya. She opened her tablet. "Already did." He stepped outside for a few minutes before the next batch of interviews began. The sky had warmed slightly, and the early sun shimmered off the frost on the asphalt. Delivery trucks moved in and out of the rear lot. A vendor unloaded produce crates, chatting with Rosa near the dock. Yarden watched all of it in silence. No grand speeches, no cameras, just people doing their jobs not out of fear, but because they were being treated like they mattered. He pulled out his phone and opened the company's internal app. He tapped the messaging section, then typed a short note to the entire leadership team. "If you haven't visited your stores this month, go, and don't announce it. Talk to the night crew. Walk the floors. Listen more than you speak." He hit send. Then he walked back inside. There was still work to be done, schedules to fix, policies to reinforce, and trust to rebuild, but the first step had been taken. Not in a boardroom, not through a memo, but on a cold night shift in a quiet aisle beside a kid who should have been home hours ago. And now she would be.